Question 5 says, the following extract is written for clarinet in B flat. Transpose it so it will sound a concert pitch down a major second. Remember to include a key signature and all necessary accidentals. Okay, so this is all about transposing. There are certain instruments that are slightly frustrating in as much as when they play what they think is a certain note, it actually comes out as a different note. So for example, a trumpeter, if you ask a trumpeter to play C, what will actually come out is a B flat, and that's due to all kinds of historical reasons and instrument design and tradition and all sorts of other things, and it's a little bit frustrating. It makes things a little bit more complicated than they need to be. But you need to remember, of course, that music is just this kind of human-made system, and we've just kind of come up with these weird instruments, and sometimes they work a certain way and sometimes they work a different way, and this is not a kind of perfectly created, beautiful, scientifically engineered system. It's just something that has kind of come over time and over history, and all these different people have come and added bits and other people have changed bits, and so that's why we have these sort of interesting, I think, delightful and interesting elements to music. And one of these is definitely the transposing instruments. So clarinets are transposing instruments, trumpets, trombones. There's all sorts of instruments that do read off a certain part in a certain key, but the music is coming out of that instrument in a completely different key. So what this question is asking us to do is to look at this part that is being written for a clarinet, but it's asking us to write out what we'll actually hear. So what actual notes in terms of C concert pitch will come out of the clarinet when they play this part. So in other words, when a clarinet plays a C, the sound that we get in concert pitch will be a B flat. And so, well, this particular clarinet, because it's a clarinet in B flat, there is a clarinet in A. So when clarinet in A plays a C, it comes out an A. So that's how you remember all these things when they say horn in F. What they mean is when the horn plays what it thinks is a C, what will come out will be an F. And so when the clarinet here is playing what it thinks is a C, it's going to come out a B flat. So we need to move all of these notes down a tone to write into this part what will actually come out in concert pitch. And that's a relatively straightforward thing to do. There's probably a couple of odd things that will happen with accidentals and things that we just have to be careful about. But ultimately, we're just moving all of these notes down by a tone. One thing we probably want to do to make life a bit easier for us is to also move the key signature down a tone. This is the key signature for B flat. 2 flats is the key signature for B flat. If we want to move this key signature down a tone below B flat is A flat. So we need to write this passage in A flat, which has B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat in the key signature. So the first challenge is just get in the key signature. I didn't do that very well. I'm going to try and do that again. Try and write in the key signature of the newly transposed key so that the accidentals will sort of sound right. So we'll have the right notes because that's really important. And we just have to check it all the way along. So it starts on a D. So we want to write in a C because we're just putting everything down a tone. That's the purpose of this. So when a clarinet plays a D, or clarinet in B flat plays a D, what will come out is a C. And that is tied to a C. Let's continue that. And it's going to go, so that was a B flat, so a tone below B flat is A flat. We've got A flat in the key signature, so that's really cool. Then it's A natural, so we want a G natural, so that's what we're getting here. And then this is going to be an F. So all we're basically doing is moving everything down a tone. And this is working out so far. So this is E flat, because there's an E flat in the key signature up here. Down a tone, that's going to be D flat, and of course there's a D flat here. So that's cool, and we can just keep writing everything down a tone. We're going to have to think a little bit more carefully here, I think. Which we're going to do. We'll do these down just purely because it's tied over there. It's probably a bit of artistic license you could use there, but okay, so this is something slightly more tricky because we've got an F sharp here. Now what's this F sharp doing essentially to this note? Well, the sharp is making it a semitone sharper, and we need to do the same thing really. And if we're just following the key signature and everything that we have on the bottom one, if I write what is a tone below here, well, I think that's going to be an E. So if I write my E in here, that is going to work, but because of the sharp, we need to make that a semitone sharper than it would have been. So instead of being an E flat that we get here, we're going to write an E natural. And the reason for that is that it needs to be a tone below. Now a tone below F sharp is E natural. So I'm going to cancel out the E flat that we'd have in our key signature, and we're going to, which way are we going to do this? I think we're going to go up, just because I feel like it. And so this one is easier to do. This is just an E flat down a tone to a D flat, which is in the key signature, so that's good. And a D down to a C, which is easy as well. So we just put in, and don't forget the triplet. So that is a triplet there. So you're getting the idea here. Just got to be careful that when we do get these accidentals that we reflect the accidental. So it's going to be another E natural here. We're reflecting the changes, and what accidentals do, they're just nudging notes up and down semitones. So that's what we need to do with the transposition as well. So that would normally be an E flat because of the key signature. So we're just going to nudge it up a semitone to make it an E natural. And this is going to be A and G. Easy enough. Nothing particularly exciting going on there. Need to write these rests in. Never been particularly good at writing these semiquaver rests. There we go. So this is a D, so it's going to go down to a C and a B flat. Okay, and the same here. This is an E flat. It's going to go down to a D flat. Probably have it slightly more sitting on the, there we go, on the ledger line. And then this is going to be an E flat with the little accented thing, the little sort of acciaccatura thing we saw before. So these are important. All these details have to come across, so you can't just sort of leave stuff out because it's difficult. An F sharp, again, it's going to be an E natural for the little accented, the ornament thing. So that is going to be E natural. Oh, well, I might have just drawn that. I might just draw that slightly there so we can see that and the natural sign. And it's going out to a G and F. Okay, and the other thing is just to be really careful that you just copy in the rest of the stuff from the score. It would be a real shame to get all of this right and then someone just go, oh, we didn't write the piano at the beginning, so I'm going to take some marks off. Because, there are nasty people like that who enjoy that kind of thing. I think there, if we do that and we put those dynamic markings in, we have a good transposition of the line above. It was written in B flat down into A flat. And again, what we've done essentially is that we've written out down here what the notes are that the clarinet is actually going to play when it plays the line above, because clarinets, when they see any note, is going to come out a major second below. So that's why we're transposing it down a major second to see for ourselves what notes will actually come out at the end of the clarinet when they play that line above from the Weber Clarinet Concerto. So I think we have dotted the I's and crossed the T's on question 5, so I will see you for question 6.